What's going on, everyone? I'm pretty sure a lot of people are wondering what the hell happened to Blue Protocol, right? Well, it isn't canceled. I'm going to let you know why and what's going on with it and why it's good that they're taking this strategy. First things first is to understand that it was smart for them to put it in Japan first to test the game and get it ready, get a whole bunch of content, fix everything, fix all the balance issues, maybe even have a expansion and then launch it over here in Western society, which is published by Amazon Games. So it's handling things differently. Two, the hype did die down. And this guy right here is going to cover some stuff. He does a really good job on it. So I'm going to be filling in some stuff and also explaining other things too that are not talked about. But before we get into that, the reason why it's good that they didn't hype the game up recently is because it's not coming out in that window. And it would have got overshadowed by Weather and Waves and Zenless Zone Zero and whatever else is going to be shown. But I can tell you that it's most likely going to show up at Summer Games, and we're going to cover that eventually. But yeah, so it would have been wasted hype. It did die down, but this is all about timing. Definitely right now, it's critical. If they would have released this game anytime now, Weather and Waves is right there next to it, and Zenless Zone Zero. So looking at it from their perspective, and just looking at it from my perspective in general, I'd be like, no, let's wait. This is about timing. Let them games catch their hype first, then rehype it up and launch it after that. So I don't see it coming out this summer. I see it coming out late summer or early fall, because that would be the intelligent thing to do. So Q3. He's going to say the same thing, but I already had this in my mindset to be like, yeah, that's the reason why you don't want that to happen. So no, it's not dead, guys. And let's see what he has to say real quick.
What's up, gamers? It's now officially been over 6 months since we last heard any word from Amazon about the state of this game, and with the news.
And that's okay, because like I said, there's other games like Weather and Waves, ZZZ, and even that other gacha game that, is around the corner that's kind of catching a lot of hype. Definitely Weather and Waves. So it's not bad that they're not doing that. They're not trying to compete with that hype. It's smart. You know what I mean? Definitely being an MMO. It's hard to make MMOs. These are gacha games. It's different. But the game that I was talking about is the moving game. It just came back to my mind. I'm like, come on, man, But yeah, let's continue here.
Just dropped. We should be able to now reassess and talk about what is going on behind the scenes and set some new release date expectations for each and every one of us. But the frustration in the community continues to grow. It continues to want to have some kind of answers. And ultimately, we can easily all agree that all the hype is gone. But at least this means that you're going to get some content on YouTube from YouTubers like myself and MMO Byte covering this game, and when will it ever come into fruition? But hey, at least we got content to talk about, even if it is delayed content. All right, so let's go ahead and get in the news. This comes from Smilegate. They're going to be the ones publishing it in South.
But that's not bad, because like I said, the more we wait, the more content we're going to have at launch. And there's so much content in this world. It's not like we're sitting here starving. No, there's so much to do. So it's fine in a world like this. Back then, no. Now, it's okay.
South Korea, and they have an update for everybody, and this news and alone is not really good news. This is bad news. This is going to mean that we're going to be looking at a minimum third quarter 2024, to say the least. Hopefully,
it's not bad news to me, because, like I said, I don't want you releasing the game earlier and then it getting fucked by these gacha games, and then it just does not do well because they timed everything wrong. People that say that are impatient. I'm not saying that he necessarily is. He probably doesn't care about those games. But we're talking about looking at it on the whole spectrum. Timing and execution is incredibly important. So to me, that's not bad. That's good that they are looking at it in the way that I'm looking at it. That's not bad news to me. That means that they understand the market and that would not be a good idea.
Not much longer than that. It could be based off of what they share. So they say, we're going to form the Blue Protocol community team is going to go dormant well, that's nice that they're even talking to us as opposed to what Amazon's doing.
Which means they're busy.
They go and they continue. First of all, to the adventurers who've been looking forward to meeting in Blue Protocol since the last announcement, we apologize for not being able to share with you guys the progress and any other questions about this in a timely manner. They're going to continue to collaborate with Bandai Namco Online to officially launch the service, but they've been working hard to improve and reflect the various feedbacks left by adventurers. That's the key aspect here. The game in and of itself has gotten some, criticisms, rightfully so. Any MMO out the gate tends to have that kind of problem, and so they're working hard to make sure they have the best foot forward when the game officially releases in the global edition. And so I think taking in that feedback.
So you see all that questions about, oh, is it canceled? Guys, it's not canceled. Said they're going dormant. They're very busy right now, and they want to make sure that this has the perfect timing and is perfectly available to a way bigger audience. What it's doing in Japan right now is not what it will do in Western society. There's way more people over here, and it's a different way of approaching a market, definitely in a different state. So when you want to really see how it's really going to do is when it's available to everyone. So now we know it's not canceled. They're dormant and they're hard at work, and they're not saying anything because they realize it's not the best thing to do with all these other, vacuums around it.
Back is going to give us a better product, but that does, in my mind, mean that we're going to be waiting much longer for it. And based off of what we've already seen with them covering the game in Japan, it seems like they're doing some really good things. And honestly, I'm going to be really excited to go hands-on with it, hopefully this year. But right now, we're shifting out of the second quarter, out of June, and into third quarter, most likely late third quarter, depending on that. But I'll be keeping you guys up to date if that changes again. Now, in this process, it's also confirmed that additional preparation time is going to be required, and they want to make sure that when the news is available, that it is truly prepared for all the adventurers that are looking forward to playing the game. So ultimately, they're going to be going quiet, and it's going to be discontinued from May the 20th at 10 a.m. And then whenever there is news to share, they're going to share it, and I'll be sure to keep you guys up to date, especially if it's related to that. Now, you might not be aware of the...
So you see what I'm saying? He's also getting intel from South Korea because it's going to get its own release date with a different publisher. So this is letting you guys know, this is confirmation here. The game is not canceled in the West or any of that. And yeah, it's going to be updated eventually, but like I said before, with the timing and all of that. Another thing that's interesting here is, let me cover this real quick. If we go over here to Summer Games Fest, E3 is gone, so we look right here on this event. Bandai Namco is going to be at Summer Games Fest with all the biggest reveals. This is where everything is going to be there. This could be an opportunity. Will it be there? We'll see. Who knows? But this could be the next place to do it. And if they want to do it, you got to do it very big. You know what I mean? So we'll see. But that's possible. I'm not saying it's confirmed, but you never know.
Unique publishing relationship between Korea, Amazon, and the Japanese version of this game. And that's essentially that, like Amazon is publishing the quote-unquote global version, Korea is going to be published by Smilegate, and in Japan, it's published by Bandai Namco.
So you see Smilegate is doing Korea. So we have 3 different publishers: Bandai Namco, Amazon for the West, and Smilegate for South Korea.
It is what it is, right? Like there's so much there, but it's clear that the devs are nose to the grindstone and working so hard. And so this confirms to me something that we've all feared, is that the devs do have their work still cut out for them. And you can actually be a dev too, thanks to this video sponsor, boot.dev. Guys, you've heard me tell you multiple times.
Okay, so this is stuff you guys don't care about because we just want to hear about Blue Protocol. So we're going to go to right here.
The feedback that they got, I think the fact that they haven't reported on the financials is also a big red flag. And those things kind of together mean...
Well, the reason why they're not going to do that, and it did say that they did not meet the expectations that they wanted in Japan. But Japan is very disciplined. I'm going to tell you, definitely when it comes to having microtransactions and other things, if you want to see the results of that, we all know, bring it over here to Western society. Way bigger base along with the Europeans. So financially, I can't say you want that to be revealed if it's not doing very well in Japan. You want to actually see the real results of that, and you have to not hide that when it's released over here. Because then you could see how it's really going to do. That's what I'm saying. Japan will be just a small scope of this game. So I think that they're playing their cards right. They're playing all their cards right the right way, regardless if people don't like it or not. They know what they're doing. So I can't say I disagree with them because I'll look at what people say, then I'll see why they want to do it as well. So yeah, let's continue this.
Means that they're just not very confident that the game's going to hit and stick, like Lost Ark has. And I think this is kind of where the question is, I bring up this question all the time, especially around these kind of games. Why aren't they just going to do early access? Early access ends up being kind of a.
You see, now the reason why they're not going to do early access at the moment is because it's no different than launching the game in front of people, regardless if it's earlier or not. If it's not ready, it's not ready, and I wouldn't do early access in front of Weather and Waves. It's Zenless Zone Zero. I would say no, that would be a bad play in my hand. So if we would do early access, at least do it after the 1 month. I don't know if you guys know about the 1 monthers, but this has been a thing in MMOs for a long time before gachas even existed. After 1 month, a huge base always falls off. The people who are going to stay are the ones who are going to stay. Unless your game is the shit and it's on fire, then you're going to be building people up. It's like going to a theme park or casino, and if it's popping and it's off, you looking out a lot. You looking outside, man. There's a big line going on every day, and that line is still there, and everybody wants to get in because you're doing a very good job. So you're attracting everyone in. It's not losing every day, it's stabilizing, or more people are trying to get in and the word of mouth is all everywhere. So I don't think they want to put that bad impression there because it's my first impression too. So will there be an early access? I don't know. But when it comes to this type of stuff, it's very touchy. So I understand what he's saying. But once again, you got to play your cards right. So
really good solution to the problem. I guess it's because it's going to be a quote unquote free to play game, and early access does have that kind of buy in to the start of it. And that gives you that ability to say, hey, we're not fully ready yet. That's what I want to see. And that's what I wish Blue Protocol would do, but they're already kind of locked in on their business model. And if Amazon wanted to go in and change that, I'd actually be all for it. I'd love to know what you guys think about the idea of launching the game in early access. You can sound off in the comments, and we'll have that in future videos as a discussion. Missouri writes, games in Japan always release years later than when the hype dies down, and probably with the decline in the player base in Japan, and it decides to open up.
yeah, but those days are pretty much over with. The only reason this is happening is because it's an MMO and they're trying to do things the right way. Like I said, it just would have been bad. Japan is patient. Not like Western society, they're I wouldn't say they're patient at all. They're very infantile. But and they just have very short attention spans. But the thing is that what they're doing is correct, even though people may not agree with it. Even if they're not interested in gacha games, like I don't care about those games. It's not about what you care about. It's about them knowing that if I put my game in front of them, I can literally kill it that quick, or it could just be in just a state that's hard to recover from. So it's not about what people think. It's about what's the best timing and executing moment to put that game on the market. And things have changed since they announced it. So they're adjusting very carefully. And it's the right thing to do.
Up to global, where most people have already forgotten about it, or a better game is released and then forgotten. In this case, we see that as a pattern, and obviously the game is out in Japan and has been. It will be for at least over a year before it finally hits our shores. And man, it's not in every case, right? Like there are definitely some games that release globally. Final Fantasy 14 is a good example of one such game, but that is really difficult to do. I don't bemoan them. There's plenty of really awesome games right now to be enjoying. So I have plenty of time to play other things. But yes, you can lose out on that. That's why I think it is actually going to be a win for them by them taking their time to make sure that the game is as good as it can be and ready to rock and roll for everybody. Because what that then will hopefully tie into is just that bigger hype push, because like Unixie says, all the hype is gone. Naturally so. It's impossible to maintain hype. Hype is in and of itself one heck of a drug for us gamers. But the hype will come back when we actually,
and like he said, because short attention span, please give me the dopamine rush. An apathetic society where people just don't feel alive that much, so they're looking for that dopamine rush and want to jump to whatever that is. But most people are like the horde mentalities and just people in general. So that makes sense. I don't see how it could have hype right now. It's nowhere to be shown in 6 months, and all these other things are in front of people's face constantly. We're living in a world now where games like this are around the corner every damn 2 to 3 months in different fashions. So, and it's right there to download. You don't want to drive anywhere or wait on a midnight release or any of that. So, yeah, but like I said, that's okay. What's not okay is if the game would have been canceled, but it's not. So they could re-establish the hype and release it the right way in a much better state, not unbalanced, more content, and do it right after those other games get their hype and have their bases settle in. I'm telling you, that's the best way to do it. I'd be doing the same thing. You got to play the board like a master.
Have a release date that is set in stone, that you see the marketing kick up when you start seeing ads for Blue Protocol. Like you're gonna be like, oh man, I remember I was excited about that game. I think it can be returned. I think it can be saved.
Easily.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to happen today. And it's perfectly fine to let that hype die down and be put into something else for the short term. So I'm readjusting the release date into into
Fall.
the third quarter of 2024 for the time being, and we'll continue to evaluate if that's going to make sense. We'll get some more information from the devs here in June for their 1-year anniversary celebration. And when we look at that, it's going to be interesting to see what they have as a part of their new and updated roadmap. And that might give us some insights as to when we can have more specific or a more focused release date conversation around this game. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for being here. If you like.
But yeah, that's a good video by him. He did a good job by updating people. I wasn't trying to criticize him or anything. I was just saying and explaining things in a professional manner. I actually think he did a very good job. Whether people want to wait and wanted to launch early or not, they're not wrong for that. That's just the way they feel. So I wouldn't say that he's wrong for that. I'm not trying to downplay or anything. But I'm more like speaking from a professional manner of why the devs are making those positions compared to what players want. You see, everybody wants it now. You know what I mean? But is that going to help the game out? No. Timing and execution, y'all. But anyways, like, subscribe if you like this type of content, guys. I'll be updating you on more intel on this game if it comes out. I'll be all over this. I'll be streaming. I'll be maxing out everything. You'll see me all over the place on this. And I'll be doing weather and waves too. I'm looking forward to that. All right, guys. Glad to update you. Peace out.